Well, a huge deal was made yesterday about a speech from the failed former president Donald Trump in Washington, D.C. It was billed as his triumphant and defiant return to Washington, D.C. Of course, it didn't quite go as planned. Number one, it happened under the cloud, figuratively, of a criminal federal investigation into the former president. We learned about that yesterday as Donald Trump was giving his speech, almost quite literally. The speech was for the America First Policy Institute. This is one of these political nonprofits, and it was created essentially around Trump. Trump was inaugurated in 2017. He would talk about America First. Then they created the America First Policy Institute. It's sort of supposed to appear to be kind of a think tank. It's just a wacky organization. And Trump gave this much promoted speech, and it was whacked. Trump went full deep state conspiracy theories. Trump pretended to be transgender. It was a complete and utter implosion. And we are going to look at, and this is one of the most deranged speeches that Donald Trump has ever given. And it's deranged for two reasons. Number one, the speech lacks all context for what happened during Trump's presidency and for the fact that he's currently under criminal investigation. It's sort of like a fantasy world speech. Number two, it is stunning the degree of authoritarianism that a supposed small government movement now casually demands. And we will get to that part of the speech as well. Part of it is Trump saying, we just got to make it easy to fire people. And here he pulls out the deep state conspiracy theory.
In the swamp and root out the deep state, we need to make it much easier to fire rogue bureaucrats who are deliberately undermining democracy.
What?
Or at a minimum, just want to keep their jobs. They want to hold on to their jobs. Congress should pass historic reforms empowering the president to ensure that any bureaucrat who is corrupt, incompetent, or unnecessary for the job can be told, did you ever hear this? You're fired. Get out. You're fired. Have to do it. Deep state.
Deep state. Deep state is a conspiracy theory of a sort of clandestine network of actors involved in the federal government, involved in industry, involved in high-level finance, and they operate as a kind of hidden government. Specifically, deep state is sort of a Trump-aligned conspiracy theory, but the idea of a shadow government that is really pulling the strings, that's a very, very old conspiracy theory. It's often highly anti-Semitic, involving that it's actually the Jews pulling the strings. There are many versions of it, and Trump has bought into it full. This is straight up conspiracy theory, whack job stuff. Often there will be some kernel of truth to hang on to, and the kernel of truth is people with money tend to have power in the United States. That is true, and it has been blown up into this supposed anti-Trump deep cover conspiracy theory, and Trump just openly talking about it now. Now, Trump also regularly overtly transphobic now during his speeches. He did it here as well. And here in this clip, Donald Trump pretends to lift weights, first impersonating, I guess, what he believes to be a, quote, real female weightlifter, and then impersonating a trans weightlifter. This is a staple now of Trump's speeches.
Kevin's saying he can lift it. I don't know about that, Kevin, but that's a lot. 218 pounds, and she got over that weight, and she was going to break it. They put a half an ounce here, half little tiny ring on top of these big barbells, dumbbells. And they go, and she went like this, and she got to break it. Stood for 11 years. And her mother and father are screaming, you got it. You got it, darling. I'm so proud of my girl. Well, she couldn't do it. And then this guy comes along. He's named Alice. And he looks at the weight. World record. We could have put another couple of 100 pounds on. I think he would have lifted it.
So regularly misgendering people, ridiculing trans athletes, by the way, inventing scenarios that are completely imaginary. And this is now overtly acceptable in these contexts. This America First Policy Institute. It's supposed to be more of a buttoned up, serious policy think tank arm of the delusional Trumpist MAGA America First nonsense. And it's not turning out that way because Trump is on stage pretending to be trans. Now, continuing the horrible authoritarianism, Trump announces his plan for the homeless, and it's basically to create tent cities where you put homeless people in tents.
All kinds, from all places, lying along the roads. That's without the tents. And then you look at the tents and the homeless, and you say, what's happening to this great bastion? Perhaps some people will not like hearing this, but the only way you're going to remove the hundreds of thousands of people, and maybe throughout our nation, millions of people.
Now, two things here. One, they are now also selling gold coins alongside Trump's speech on Newsmax. And secondly, understand the absurdity. Trump bemoans the horrible nature of homeless people living in tents in cities. And his solution is make homeless people live in tents outside of cities. That's the solution.
Talking about and help make our cities clean, safe, and beautiful again is to open up large parcels of inexpensive land in the outer reaches of the cities, bring medical professionals, including doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists,
right, all the medical professionals Trump ignored for years during COVID,
rehab specialists, build permanent bathrooms and other facilities, make them good, make them hard.
You need your sink, you need your shower, and you need your third element of the bathroom.
But build them fast and create thousands and thousands of high-quality tents, which can be done in one day. And you have to move people out. Now, some people say, oh, that's so horrible. No, what's horrible is what's happening now.
Right. So Trump really displeased with all of the homeless people living in tents in cities. We've got to do something for them. We really do. So we're going to move them to tents outside of the cities, and the tents will be a little bit better, and we will have doctors there. Really, really wild authoritarian stuff. Trump then, of course, going through his pity me part of the speech where he said he's been treated even worse than Richard Nixon. I guess that's the point he's trying to make.
Who else could have taken this? You know, think of it. Nixon went through not even one impeachment. And I think he always regretted that he didn't fight. But it's been a very interesting period of time.
Yeah. Just treated so terribly, Trump, subjected to multiple impeachments that even Nixon didn't go through that. At another point in the speech, Donald Trump claimed that we charge the country $25,000 for each person that comes in illegally. I assume he means we bill the source country. So like if a Mexican person comes in illegally, we bill Mexico for 25 grand.
Of all of the bad ones, and the police know almost immediately who the bad ones are. And that we can do, and that we can do fast and easy. At the same time, we should implement a bond system and a financial penalty so that anyone who comes to our country on a temporary visa and fails to depart suffers significant financial consequences, and we take the money away from the country. We charge the country $25,000 each for each person that comes in illegally.
Notice that there's almost no policy during these bizarre speeches, but when you get something that sounds like policy, it's number one, completely absurd and obviously unworkable diplomatically, and also the crowd claps because they don't seem to know any better at all. At another moment, Donald Trump talked about Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff, and Trump's increasingly focused on Schiff's personal appearance and the shape of Schiff's head, referring to it regularly now to be watermelon shaped.
And it's this, think of this, these are hacks and thugs. These are the same people that we've been dealing with for 4 years, same people. And it's the very people who perpetrated the lies that I was an agent of Russia, like Adam Shifty Schiff and others, who are standing before the same microphone, same thing. They get out and they say, oh, our country is suffering so badly because, and he knows the whole thing is a hoax. I said this the other day. He knew Russia was a hoax. Him, Hillary Clinton, the DNC, the Democrats. And he stood pompously before microphones. His head, as you know, I feel is shaped like a watermelon.
Trump's head is really small, by the way.
He's quite an unattractive man. Now, see, they'll get me in trouble for that, Kellyanne, because by saying he's unattractive, they'll say, that's a horrible thing to say. But he said slightly worse about me.
Right.
And it's
right. He did even worse. Okay. So then we go into the full authoritarian part of the speech, where Trump again has this almost like a wet dream of sending military into cities to, quote, restore order despite the governor's wishes, all of a sudden not super concerned with states' rights.
Where there is a true and total breakdown of law and order, where citizens' most basic rights have been violated, then the federal government can and should send the National Guard to restore order and secure the peace without having to wait for the approval of some governor that thinks it's politically incorrect to call.
The party of states' rights says we should be allowed to send in the military whenever we want.
When governors refuse to protect their people, we need to bring in what's necessary anyway. We have to go beyond the governor. Another 60 people were shot. Think of this. It's not even possible. Were shot in Chicago over the weekend.
Yes.
In Afghanistan.
With many with firearms whose provenance is originally purchases in the neighboring state of Indiana with very lax gun laws.
Afghanistan, for 18 months, not one of our soldiers was killed. And they had that number of people shot in Chicago over the weekend. Think of it. Many died, by the way. Many died. When that many are shot, a lot are going to die. And this is constant in Chicago. And this cannot go on anymore. Every other approach has been considered and tried.
Yeah, you know, the thing that hasn't been tried is actually dealing with the guns. But Trump wants to send in the troops. Very, very small government, states' rights conservative. Okay, last couple things to go back to the trans part. Anti-trans is such a big part now of Trump's speeches. When Trump finishes up a rant attacking trans youth and trans athletes, he says his idea for winning with a basketball team would be to convince LeBron James to be a woman.
So unfair. It's so unfair. And I'll tell you what, if I were ever, I'd be the greatest women's basketball coach in history. Because I don't like LeBron James. I like Michael Jordan much better. But I'd go up to LeBron James. It doesn't matter. I'd say, LeBron, did you ever have any desire to be a woman? Because what I'd love you to do is star on my team that I'm building up. I will have the greatest team in history. They'll never lose. Nobody will come within 70 points of this team. Now we have to change that, and we have to make it okay to talk about it. Do you know the young lady I was talking about is afraid to talk about it? She's shunned and she's canceled when she talks about it.
Yep. So there's Trump's big idea for basketball. And then lastly, just maybe the dumbest part of the speech altogether, Trump rants about windshield wipers.
True. I said, I can't talk about it. I complained. I said, I did too good a job. I did too good a job. That's like obsolescence. You know, a windshield wiper, for those of you, I used to drive cars, haven't been driving too many lately. But for those of you that complain, you buy a windshield wiper, right? And it lasts for 1 year, and then it doesn't work anymore. You can't see, you got to get another one. They could make the wiper good for 100 years, but they want planned obsolescence. The same thing is happening.
Yeah, I guess Trump doesn't realize you just grab a paper towel, you pinch your wiper and wipe it, and then it's like back to new. But, you know, I guess I can't expect Trump to know that. So under a cloud of a criminal federal investigation against Trump, he shows up to deliver what was supposed to be this historic, triumphant, defiant, principled speech. And he rants about trans athletes, authoritarian wet dreams of sending the National Guard into Democratic states, and windshield wipers. Folks, this guy could be the next president. We'll have these clips on our Instagram, which you can find at David Pakman Show. I'm really excited that one of our sponsors today is Helix Sleep. I sleep on a Helix mattress at home. I absolutely love it. And that's why I reached out to them about sponsoring the David Pakman Show. Buying a mattress in the past was always a huge guessing game for me. I didn't know what I actually needed. I didn't know what I would like. But Helix has a sleep quiz on their website. You tell them your body type, your sleeping position, your back pain issues you might have, and their tool matched me with a mattress that is perfect for me. It's cool enough at night. It's the right firmness. I generally just do way better sleeping these days because of the mattress. Helix was awarded #1 best overall mattress for the last 2 years by both GQ and Wired Magazine. It is well-deserved, I can tell you firsthand. Every Helix mattress comes with a 10-year warranty. You can try the mattress risk-free for 100 nights, and they will even come pick it up at your house if you don't love it, but I know you will. For a limited time, Helix is offering up to $350 off all mattress orders plus 2 free pillows at helixsleep.com/Pacman. It's the biggest discount they've ever offered. The link is down below.